All right, another beautiful day on ABS TV. Is our breakfast TV show, Good Morning Anambra, and we gladly welcome you to the show this morning. My name is Chidimma Orangwa. All right, together we are going to be running the show this morning, and we'll start by bringing your way the stories we have on the national tabloids and also our website. But before we do that, we are going to take a short break. When we come back, we introduce our guest, and of course, we'll go straight into discussion. Stay with us. All right, you're welcome back. And our guest this morning is Dominic Akabwe. He is a public affairs analyst. You're welcome to the show this morning.
Good morning, Nigerians. It's my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
All right, quickly, we are starting with the stories trending on ABS website this morning. And the very first story we have is 2025. Soludo fans club begs Soludo to seek second tenure. Anambra State Government, WHO, explore measures to improve affordable, accessible healthcare delivery. Justin organizes capacity building program for members on improved service delivery. Enu Avomimi Quarter Enugu Coast sends SOS to Anambra State Government over threat of gully erosion. These are the stories we have on our website this morning. And you know, just yesterday we talked about World Earth Day, where we talk about so many things that have been endangering our environment. And here we are seeing people of Enuavo Mimikwata in Enugu sending SOS that gully erosion is ravaging their village.
Well, you see, it is obvious that erosion menace has been a threat not only in Anambra, but in various parts of Southeast. I recall last week when the governor made a very serious call, saying that Anambra is the second smallest in terms of landmass Lagos,
yeah.
And was saying that erosion is affecting even the little we have. So I think it's a serious issue that has to be looked at. And I believe the governor is partnering with the federal government to see how they can, arrest the situation at the early stage. You see, and that is why, at the top of the first story, when you said Soludo fan
clubs, yeah,
call on the governor to run for
second tenure.
See, they said one good term deserves another. Without any iota of equivocation, the governor has done well and has to be supported, and that is why I'm glad with the call. So if he continues, he continue to do these good jobs. Do you understand? So I think it's a welcome development on the aspect of that call by the fan club.
Okay, so let us also see the story where Anambra State Government and WHO, they are actually exploring measures to improve affordable and accessible healthcare delivery in Anambra.
Health is wealth. No meaningful development can take place without a good healthcare system, and no state government can do it alone. Because the burden is the proliferation of burden on the top of government is too much, and institutions like World Health Organizations need to assist, states and Anambra in particular. Okay, we have so many rural areas, hard to reach areas. Some of these areas doesn't really have healthcare services, and the state government cannot, with the level of resources at their disposal, cannot, be able to afford putting these structures in place. In most places, you see structure, but no doctor, no health facilities. And this is, it's affecting the delivery. and it's causing a lot of health challenges.
And I also want to add that we should also applaud the state government for what they are doing through ASHA, that is Anambra State Health Insurance Agency, because we have improved and accessible health care to India Anambra everywhere. Even if you're not from Anambra State, once you are residing in this place, you can, access the care once you enroll yourself there, and it's a good one.
That is the power of continuity. This is an inherited initiative from the previous government, and Soludo came and consolidated it. There are places where the predecessor will initiate a fantastic program, and the successor will come and change it. But this government is visionary, as in it has a good intention for the state, and that is why it consolidated on the ASHA program. It is highly impactful.
All right, having said that, let's go to the papers we have this morning.
And the first paper for review this morning is the Daily Times. The banner headline, Nigeria not ripe for state police, IGP insists. And the writer says governors could use police force under them for political personal gains. We can't have adequate security without state policing. That's coming from former President Goodluck Jonathan. Nigeria will strengthen regional collaboration against terrorism. That's coming from President Tinubu. And in Kano, judge reverses order suspending Ganduje as APC national chairman. Nimet agreement orders warn against impending food crisis in June. Segun Olatunji, media bodies, CSOs refer case to National Media Ombudsman for adjudication. And we have NNPCL deplores resources to transform Nigeria into gas-powered nation. And quickly, let's go to what we have for you on the Punch newspaper. The banner headline is saying, "No Nigerian shopper." Chinese operator risk sanctions as federal government shut Abuja supermarket. The writer says that consumer agency plans Wednesday. Tribunal says CCTV footage shows owner fled Monday morning. Federal government identifies fleeing operator. Punch investigation reveals Lagos Indian school bars. Indian school bars Nigerians. Naira rebound. Rice falls to 67,000 naira in Lagos, Abuja, cheaper at borders. Tinubu blames illegal mining for terrorism funding. Federal government to unbundle 11 discos, orders sale of 4. IG warns of governor's excesses as federal government insists on state police. Ayedatiwa, aggrieved Ondo aspirants petition APC demand primary cancellation. 5 children died in abandoned car in Niger. Delta diverts Lagos flights to Lome after passengers' death and thunderstorm. This and all is what we have for you on the front pages of the Daily Times and the Punch newspaper. Quickly, okay, Dominic.
Yes.
Nigeria not ripe for state police, IGP insists.
Yes.
This is the topic that has been, even before the emergence of this new administration, we've been speaking, even top security experts over the past months, getting to a year, no more than, been talking about the need to have Nigeria, you understand, let's experiment on state policing to curb these excesses of insecurity. What's your take on that?
Okay, fundamentally, this has been a very serious challenge. The issue of state police has been on the front page, not in the recent time.
Yeah, just.
And when I read the caption, I said, IGP disagree with the president and the ex-president. Yes, I think in as much as it is necessary, the modalities, procedures, or method under which it is coming from now, I think the police chief is very correct. One of the reasons he advanced was that the state police, if granted, would be used by the state governors to monopolize power and authority. And he also pointed out the challenges which the Nigerian police force is facing now, which has not been addressed, and then maintain that it will be dangerous if it is left under this stage and handed over to the state governors. The welfare, he talked about welfare, provision of gadgets for the personnel. He said none of these things has been addressed. And our people are not yet civilized, just like the Western world, where the state-controlled, security agencies comply with the dictates of their ethics. He was of the view that once that is done, the state governors will turn into, will become herald, and that will be for the detriment of, the masses. He was saying that Nigeria is not yet for state police, on the fact that we have so many political parties within the state level and national level. Assuming, for example, the APC is at the national level, the sub component you have in Anambra and so many other areas. Any state that has the governorship will control the police. And now, what becomes the fate of others? You will see what we are facing now, that it is under the exclusive list controlled by the president. You see what we are battling with now. What happens when it is zeroed down to the state governors? That will be a serious battle, and that will be a survival of the fittest, just like it was then during the state of nation, when life was nasty, short and brutish. So I think he's right.
Now, in my own opinion, if there are needs, as in certain conditions, criteria that is needed for state policing, because we're talking about the safety of Nigerians, since there is increase in insurgency and insecurity in this part of the world. So is it not up to the IG to come up and say, okay, for state policing to be effectively championed or see it work, these are the necessary things that we need to do. Let us begin with providing you with what is needed. If it's to get more recruitment and more welfare and more equipment for the Nigerian police, well, let us begin with that. Then give yourself the time frame of saying, okay, we can achieve this maybe in 10 years' time, in 15 years' time, as the case may be. But let us begin the process.
What you said, let me take you back to what was obtainable. I think a few months ago, there was a strategy the governor of Anambra State adopted in fighting all these unknown, what have you. It's not even the police that used to, do the battle. The police doesn't know the terrain. Every environment has terrain. You post a policeman from north to Anambra, he doesn't know Anambra West. He doesn't know Ayamelum. It is the people within the area. The use of AVGA. If government can, restructure, train them, and give them better treatment, provide them with sophisticated arms, give them quality training, they are enough. They are more than enough to fight crime in our local places. The police will be there doing the official normal arrest and detention and what have you. But in terms of crime prevention and what have you, these people knows the terrain. Every society has its own environmental challenges.
But don't you think that if the state police thing comes to fruition, that this vigilante, the members of AVG, can also be incorporated in the state police?
What if they are not trained and educated? What if they go for the exam and they do not pass? And based on the merit system, government will use that policy of segregation. You didn't pass through exams, and most of these people are experienced, but they didn't have the educational qualification to go for the exam and pass. Yes, they can get the job. You see the discrepancy there. So we need to employ people who can do the job and get it right, and forget about Qualifications.
Okay. Quickly, let's go over to other papers we have for you this morning. And the next on our list is the Vanguard newspaper, right? The Vanguard says IGP kicks as ex-president orders back state police. That's what we have been talking about right here in the studio this morning. That's the banner headline in front of Vanguard newspaper. And we have riders under it saying, Nigeria not ready, mature for state police. IGP, we can't manage internal security without state police. Okay, sorry. IGP said that we are not ready. Jonathan is saying that we can't manage internal security without state police. And then governors must be transparent. General Abubakar. It must be free from politics, religious extremism are coming from Akpabio. My results enhance Nigeria's security unwavering. This is coming from the President, Tinubu. And then we can see a group of people from left National Security Advisor Malam Nuhu Ribadu. They are there for the Africa Counter-Terrorism meeting that happened in Abuja. We have a whole lot of them. Even Ghana President Nana Akufo-Addo, he's also there, and so many other people, including our President Bola Tinubu. Ondo Guba, aspirants kick as Aida Tiwa extends olive branch to co-contestants. Terrorism is evil, must be banished in Africa. Tinubu, we've resumed prosecution of Boko Haram suspect Ribadu. Coastal Superhighway Project misplaced priority. This is coming from Obi. And then under sports, Team Nigeria can surpass Atlanta Olympics 2 gold medal in Paris. NOC scribe. Okwama Ewu, help. We are dying in the forest. Displaced residents cry to Oberevowori, and I mean that's the governor. And then we have how government killed Babcock varsity lecturer and abducted to Inogun. Court vacates order suspending Ganduje, and we still have up there 200 billion naira intervention fund. Federal government begins disbursement to MSMEs and manufacturers. Next is a Daily Independent. IGP Iwotekun disagrees with Tinubu's governors on state police. And then Rivers Assembly overrides Fubara, extends local government chairman tenures. Lagos Calabar Coastal Highway not a priority, says project may not be completed in 30 years. Coming from Obi. Ondo APC, Giba Primary Upper Committee, received petition from Edema and others. Atiku links Ningi's struggle against oppression as reason for his suspension. Terrorism, now greater threat to nationhood, says Tinubu. Links it to illegal mining activities, solicits better cooperation among regional blocs. Advocate Regional Counter-Terrorism Center, and many more. Well, these are what we have on the front pages of both Vanguard and the Daily Independent. Dominic, yes. You're already nodding your head. Is there anyone that you want to talk about?
The political impasse at River State caught my attention, and that has been a very disturbing story. That the House of Assembly, even after the alleged truce between the governor and his godfather, were still working against the governor. And you ask yourself, who is beating the drum for them? You see, that was a few months ago, when I appeared here, I made a case against the overriding power of the former governor of Rivers State, who is now the FCT minister.
Yes, sir.
No, he's behind the whole thing that is happening in Rivers State. And I'm totally against godfatherism. Do you understand? When he was governor of Rivers State, nobody interfered on his activities for 8 years. In fact, he became like Gaddafi of, do you understand? So one wonders why, even after serving for 8 years, why are you still instigating crisis in Rivers State? Okay. Now, I understood that so many stakeholders in Rivers State have called for dialogue, but you keep on wondering why is it that after this dialogue, this issue kept on, reoccurring. It shows that something is fishy somewhere. Okay, had it been Wike was not appointed a minister, by now he couldn't have had the power to fight the sitting governor. It is totally condemnable. You cannot, after serving as 8 years, you now, sit and wants to dictate for the governor what to do. Allow the governor to perform. If he fails, the people will hold him accountable. If he succeeds, the people will applaud him. So distracting him now, using the House for Assembly as an instrument to disorganize his government, is a blow on our democratic system. And that must be condemned.
Okay, what do you also think about this statement from our president saying that terrorism is now a greater threat to nationhood? I think he said that when that conference they had in, Abuja, that's the Africa Counter-Terrorism meeting they had in Abuja.
Yes, he said that the terrorist act in Nigeria is being funded by, people from abroad, and it is true. You see, most of these issues in Nigeria, they emanated outside Nigeria. Okay, most of these terrorist activities that is happening, especially in the northeast and various parts of the northern Nigeria. There are areas they have mining and what have you.
Yeah.
So once they introduce that insecurity, they put fear in people. Okay, their target is to induce fear. Once that fear is induced, people will now be scared from, they will now have opportunity of doing whatever illegal practices they want to do. So it is a sponsored. It is sponsored. Okay.
Even as sponsored as it is, I'm sure that government have intels on who are mining and probably who are financing this. So why not go after these people rather than coming to the pages of newspapers and be telling Nigerians that
terrorism is not something you end in one day. And there was a quote that any terrorist act that lasts more than 24 hours, know that the government has a hand in it.
That was what Bacha said.
Do you understand? So it is. So there are things we see on the screen, but there are more things
we don't know about behind the scenes.
Let's leave it for the secretary's part
to talk about. Okay, all right. We have other papers under review this morning,
and that's the Nation newspaper. And the banner headline is saying Abdulsalami Jonathan orders OK State Police IG differs. President leaves for Netherlands, Saudi Arabia. On page 6 we have Akin Ferinwa denies detention by EFCC. Government to sell Abuja, Ibadan, Benin, Kaduna, Kano discos. That's Rivers Assembly overrides FUBORA. Passes local government amendment bill into law, and gains of IMF and World Bank meeting by Finance Ministry. Fugitive Binance chief Anjawala to be deported from Kenya. Illegal foreign funds mining fueling terrorism, says Tinubu. Nigeria should ignore downgrading of status by IMF, says UK envoy. Aspirants filed appeal against Ayedatiwa's nomination. Quickly, let's see what we have on the Guardian newspaper. Recapitalization. Insurers, bank compete for scarce funds under new NICOM. Government considers 18 as minimum wage for admissions seekers. Federal government plans regulatory intervention as fiber repairs cost telcos 27 billion naira. IGP counters Tinubu, says Nigeria not mature ready for state police. Cooking gas price spikes further as Nigerians struggle with food inflation. Controversy trails Rivers politics as lawmakers override FUBORA's absence past local government bill. Terrorists kill 15 abduct married women in Katsina. Federal government to sell discos under banks AMCON in 3 months. That's all we have for you on those papers. Quickly, let's see this issue of, sometimes when we talk about, is talking about Nigerian police not being ready for state policing. Somehow you begin to wonder if we are even ready for democracy based on what's happening in Ondo State. APC had their primary,
yes,
and now a flag bearer emerged. And now we are having other party members saying that they are not, in accordance with the primaries. Does this is the same party we're talking about. Does it actually mean that democracy is far from what we actually practice in this part of the world? What's your take on that, Dominic?
Okay. Historically, what you should be worried about is the fundamentals. What actually was the procedure for the primary question? Because when the foundation is faulty, the whole building will collapse. Okay. You see, it's not only traceable to Ondo. In most of the party primaries, you discover that immediately after the primary, a winner will emerge, and other factions will, head to court or protest. First thing you should begin to ask is, what modalities were used? The procedure set out for the primary, was it followed to the core? Do you understand? You see, it is always easy to say this will be a straight way, and everybody will be preparing that it will be a straight way. When you get to the field, you see that the way is not straight again. And once the method, the process that produced a result is contested, okay, people are not comfortable with the process, they will detest. That is actually what is happening. The primary in Ondo was, from what I read in various quarters, was not transparent. Do you understand? How can you say you are going to wards to collect delegate list based on the ward congresses, and at the end of the day, you couldn't go to the ward? You collected the list from up and expect those, while people are at the ward level waiting, and while they were waiting, a result was announced. How do you explain that? And that is the challenges we have in our democratic system. We cannot have a perfect democracy without having a fundamental procedure that, align with the rule of the game. So it is faulty, and the people have to contest. At the end of the day, they will end up by saying, go to the court, and whatever the court says is the final. And the gladiators have always had their way. So in democracy, what you need to do is prepare for the rule of the game, and also prepare for the indirect rule, so that whatever that you see, you take it.
Okay, there's this story that have appeared in almost all the papers. We read out this morning, talking about government planning to resell Abuja, Ibadan, Benin, Kaduna, and Kano discos. When they privatized the power holding company of Nigeria, we thought that it was going to be that they would run this power generation in a better way that will benefit all Nigerians. But we keep hearing stories. Some people say they are paying for darkness at the end of the day. And now the federal government is trying to resell it again. Would this solve the problem, or is it just for them to get whatever money they want to get, and then people, the masses, will keep suffering? Exactly.
Well, the truth of the matter is that for you to, to achieve efficiency, you must privatize, you do privatization. But then, while doing that, what measure have you been able to employ, to checkmate whether the result, the purpose is being achieved? I read the story. It said the 12, there are some under AMCON, some under Fidelity Bank, some under UBA. That was my first time of hearing that UBA and that the banks have also ventured into our electricity. And it is unfortunate that the idea has not yielded any meaningful fruits. And I think the government is right by trying to review to review their contract.
I hope it's not going to be from frying pan to fire.
What we are praying is to ensure a better service
delivery.
So if the review will bring a better outcome, I think it's a welcome development.
All right, let's quickly go to the last papers we have this morning, Daily Trust and Nigerian Tribune. Daily Trust, the big story is still talking about the IGP kicking against state police. And then other stories we have there, what to know about new First Bank's acting CEO, Alebosu. Court vacates order affirming Ganduje's suspension. And then the terrorism renews social contract with citizens. UN tells Nigeria and others. Tinubu blames ransom and illegal mining. Okay, father, son, one other died in Kano trying to retrieve food from latrine. Federal government plans to peg varsity entry age at 18. After 16 years, Airspace Agency to raise navigation charges. And quickly, let's see the front page of the Nigerian Tribune. Judges Conference stalls hearing of EFCC appeal challenging order stopping Yahaya Bello's arrest. Judge reverses self, vacates order suspending Ganduje. Federal government set to resell distribution companies in July. Federal government may adopt 18 years as university entry age. Assert yourself over MIF downgrading. Okay, this is coming from UK Envoy to Nigeria. And then we say, well, these and many more are what we have on the front pages of the Daily Trust and Nigeria Tribune. I noticed that you smiled, or you should I say you laughed when we talked about federal government planning to peg varsity entry age at 18.
Well, it's just a proposal, but what you should ask is, can that be possible? You see, these days, you see people who started earlier. There are people who started very late. So assuming somebody finished his or her secondary school at the age of 15, depending, there are people who attend school early. Do you now suggest that the person should be at home until the person gets to 18? But the truth of the matter is that the university system is too wide, that it's not only to read and write that you go there to. You expose yourself to the wider society. For that will open your eyes to the global system. So even as much as we are not totally saying somebody must be up to 18, it is also important that somebody should get to a certain level of maturity before you enter the university system, because it will introduce you to both good and bad. But the matured mind you have will tell you which to choose. So if somebody enters into the university at the age of 14, probably the person may not have that matured mindset to cope with the intricacies and the issues.
Okay, so if they should peg the age 18 for someone to gain admission into the university, they should also do something about some of these companies that want to employ people that are below 25 and have had like 5 or 10 years experience. You understand what I'm saying? Because it's still going to affect it.
It will still affect it, because now you go to seek employment and they're telling you that the cutoff age is 25.
25, and you must have like 5 years experience. So you are expected to have finished university at the age of 20, right? So that you have 5 years experience before you can join them.
You see, these are the issues that must be revisited. They just made a proposal, and I believe if they are serious, a committee will be formed to look into it, and those committee will look into all this matter, because it will actually contradict the other employment aspect. Do you understand?
Okay. After 16 years, Airspace Agency to raise navigation charges. Okay. Well, I don't think we have more time to go through all those things because our time is fast spent.
This issue of suspended
Ganduje.
Yes, an interesting story. I heard that he was suspended by his ward chairman, and in political affairs, in party affairs, the party is supreme. You might be the national chairman at the apex, but your ward chairman has the capacity to remove you from the party. That was actually what happened to the former governor of this man, Oshomole. He was removed as the national chairman by his ward chairman. The same thing is actually what happened in the case of Ganduje. Do you understand? So saying that the court has reversed his case, it is immaterial. Even some people from his zone are contesting for the same position, saying that since it was zoned to their zone, that the removal of Ganduje will usher in a new chairman from their zone, and they are contesting, meaning that they okayed his removal. So party is free, and he has been removed by his ward chairman.
Okay. Well, that's where we end the segment of Good Morning Anambra. That's the press review segment. And we want to say a very big thank you to you, Dominic Okabwe, for being part of this show this morning.
Thank you, and God bless.
Oh, that's it on press review this morning. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll take a short break. When we come back, we'll continue with the program. Good Morning Anambra.